Excuse me, class. Kindly settle down. Quiet. So, kinsa to yung mga excuse for pagpalit daw sa skirting? Basic. Wala na ikuan aside from liquid. Sige, kaya we'll start na lang. It's 8 naman. So, we're running out of time. So, kindly stand up. Then, who's assigned for prayer leader for today? Okay, so table 4. Then you lead the prayer. Table 4. Oh, in some day table 5. Mas easy, lead the prayer. Pero magduduri prayer, wala? Amen. So, good morning, class.
Good morning, sir.
So, can we sit down?
Thank you, sir.
So, can we settle down, be quiet, and eyes on the board. So, diyan sa kanang table nas pinakaluyo. Kanang facing backwards, palayo ko, lingkod pina sidewards, face here on the board. Their positions. So, settle down, and eyes on the board. Minsan pa rin nagsuwat. Please, we'll start our discussion for today. So, last meeting, I've asked your classmates that you've discussed about covalent bondings already, right? Right? Or wala pa muna human? Wala pa? Covalent bondings. Size bondings. Sige, so, let's review lang kanil. So, as a sort of review, di ba, there's covalent bondings. Who can remember the two types of covalent bondings? Diba, there are two types. What? Three. Non-polar and dipolar covalent bondings. So what's the difference between the two? Any answers? Diba, na-discuss ba na last meeting? Or last, I think, last week. Not last meeting though. Mula na ka-remember, class? It's mainly about the difference in electronegativity. Diba, we have this katong if it is equal or less than 4, then that's non-polar. If it is greater than 4, so less than 1.8, that's the polar covalent bonds. Naka-remember wala? Remember. Okay. So since we've finished discussing about covalent bonds already, we'll be starting a different topic for today. So sa inyo nga class, kinsa nagsakay tricycle pa dong ari pa dong eskwelahan? Kali raise your hand. Siya ra? Siya day kuan. Oh. What do you think powered the engine of the motorcycle? Gasolina. Kabalo ba mo unsay component sa gasolina? Wala. How about sa inyong pagluto karong buntag sa inyong pamahaw? Kinsay ni gamit og gasol? Kinsay ni gamit og cooking oil? O, di ba? So, kabalo ba mo kung sa'y component ana ng mga compounds? Wala. So, that would be our topic for today. So, katong mga dimension nga examples class, we have here, for example, the motor oil. We have the candle, the lighter, ang gas lighter which makes it lights up. Nana siya group of compounds nga na-specific ngalan. And these group of compounds are very useful in our daily basis na pangadlaw-adlaw kinabuhi. So that would be our topic for today. So here are our objectives. So at the end of the conduct of the lesson. Hi. Morning ma'am. So class, can you greet ma'am?
Good morning, Mom.
So at the end of the conduct of the lesson, the learners are expected to be able to first differentiate alkenes and alkynes, and second, draw the Lewis structure and the skeletal structure of hydrocarbons. So going back to the question, diba, we have the examples, the gasoline, the lighter, the candle, the LPG, gamit sa itong pagluto. Those are group of compounds nga na-specific ngalan. And these are what we call the hydrocarbons. So we have here an example of the simplest hydrocarbon, which is CH4 or the methane. Muna yung ngalan sa kiniya. Now, question class. Anong gitawag man ito sila hydrocarbons? Any idea? Based pa lang sa iyang formula, iyang ngalan. Hydrocarbons. Ano ka? Kinay carbons. Anong sa pailain na nakundungan hydrogen. Ito to. Oh, hydrogen. Basically, it's a component. Its component is carbon and hydrogen. O na, hydrocarbons. Ano na siya ka-simple, let's not make it complex. So, hydrocarbons are group of compounds nga we use in a daily basis. So, there are other groups of hydrocarbons class, pero for our discussion for today, we'll only focus on 3, which is the alkanes, alkenes, and alkynes. So, what's the difference between the 3? So, we will start with alkane. So this I have written here. Methane is an example of an alkane. So what's an alkane? What's an CnH2n plus 2? So I'll just write here sa board class. Oh, what is an alkane? So alkane is a hydrocarbon which has single bonds, and ang kinibitang H2N CnH2n plus 2 is its general formula. So remember ha, this is our key takeaway in identifying the different group of hydrocarbons, wherein N is the number of carbon atoms. So for example, sa atong example, CH4, pila ka buok yung carbon atoms? Pila? No, that's hydrogen. We only have one. So basically, it's an alkane. If we'll use its formula, the CnH2n plus 2, wherein N is equivalent to the number of carbon atoms, see, 1. So we have 1, so let's just substitute 2 times 1 plus 2 equals to CH4. So that's our first key takeaway in identifying if it's an alkane by using this general formula. Remember this class, kindly take down in your notes. And it has single bonds. So a single bond is represented in this manner. Usara ka linya. One bond towards another carbon atom. Nag-gets ra? Klaro or dili? Naipangutana wala. O may naningog. Sige, so let's proceed. Alkane ha, it's an alkane and it ends with an A. A and E. So let's proceed to the second hydrocarbon, which is the alkene. So ato ron gibuhat is just we replace the A with the E. So what's the difference between alkane and alkene? So in alkene, it has double bonds. And double bond is represented in this manner class. See, as we've shown in the presentation, nandiyan duha ka linya, which is the double bond towards another carbon atom. And ihang general formula is CnH2n. If we can compare sa alkane na plus 2 sa alkene ato ng kwaon. So for example, sa CH4, methane, walay alkene ana because it only has one carbon atom. So ang pinaka kanang simplest form of alkene is this example. This is what we call the ethene. Kaya need man siya another carbon to carbon. So kailangan siya at least minimum of 2 carbons to form an alkene. So the alkene, ethene, has the formula of C2H4. If we'll use iyang general formula, C, yeah, there's 2, then substitute lang, H, 2 times N, 2. So C2H4. That's an ethene. So that's the difference between alkane and alkene. So again class, I see here, alkane ends with an A, which has single bond and has this general formula, CnH2n plus 2. For alkene, ato na siyang ilista ng A ug E. So alkene, and it has double bond, carbon to carbon bond, and it has the general formula of CnH2n. So ato na gitanggal ang plus 2. Now, for the third hydrocarbon, which we'll be discussing for today, can you guess unsay katulo? Okay. So alkyne general formula of CnH2n minus 2. CnH2n minus 2. So I'll give you an example of an alkyne. Pareho lang natin isuot para maklaro ninyo. So the simplest alkyne is again the ethine, C2H2. Okay, again class, it needs a carbon to carbon na bond. Need niya at least 2 carbons. So if you'll use the general formula of CnH2n minus 2, so C2H2 times 2, so that's a 4, minus 2, so that gives us C2H2. And this is an ethine. And remember class, again alkane ends with an ane with single bond, alkene ends with an in which has double bond, and alkyne which has triple bond. So this is a carbon to carbon na bond. Nakuha na niyo ang difference between the three?
Yes.
Sayo doon no, igor mo isa no, A, E, Y. Tapos 1, 2, 3. More na siya class, kaya basic ka ng difference between the three. And you can identify whether a compound is an alkane, alkene, or alkyne by using this formula. Inyo na siyang i-substitute ang number of carbon atoms sa N. Then, identify na ninyo. Remember that CnH2n plus 2, na plus 2, that's an alkane, na ay 2 times N lang, walay plus 2, tarong ikuha, that's an alkene, and ato siyang minusan og 2, CnH2n minus 2, that's an alkyne. Di ba we've mentioned methane, ethene, ethine, nakapangutana mo, sir, yun sa ito pagpangalan. For example daw, we have here C3H8. Kaya ilan mo kung saan siya nga compound? Wala may nabasa na or previous kanang stock knowledge lang ba? So, we name hydrocarbons in this manner class. We use the Greek prefixes. Ako sa case ay para serve as your guide as we discuss along with the lesson. So kindly take note of this one kay I think wala sir na po sa handouts ang kini nga table.
Publish sa page 125.
So kindly open sa inyong learning module page 125.
Yes, sa page 138 onwards. Algebra day. Kanina nakalista ako. Page, saan siya page? 136 day. Tanawan niyo nito yan.
Na-open na yung class sa inyong learning modules.
Five, 136, 138 onwards.
Parang yun.
135.
35. So the table here, muna itong gamitin class in naming the compounds. So we use these prefixes in relation sa number of carbon atoms. For example, di ba, tanong ko nyo, what is this compound? Since we have here number of carbon atoms 3, this is a 3. So its prefix will be prop. And by using this general formula, so 2 times 3, 6 plus 2, 8. So this is an alkane. So ito rin yung prefix plus suffix. Then we get the hydrocarbon name. So prop plus ane, since this is an alkane, so that gives us the propane. So propane class, muna siya ang sulod bitaw sa ato ang LPG, atong igamit pagluto sa ato ang pagkaon na daily basis. Propane, butane mostly, muna sa ang components ana. And if we'll be naming other compounds such as alkene or alkyne, we just substitute that with the in or the ine. So for example, this one, ethene, because duha yang carbon atoms. This is an ethene. So we just use if, follow lang along, meth, eth, prop, but. So butane, pentane, hexane, heptane, octane, nonane, and decane. And by the way class, octane, with this formula, C8H20, oh, H18, mo ni siya ang component sa gasolina. Nga mo'y nagpadagan sa motor vehicle, nga mo'y yung isakyan pagpadungari sa klase karon. So these hydrocarbons are really important in our daily life. So we just substitute prefix and suffix, which gives us the carbonate. Nag-gets ra wala? Say for example daw C4H. Then, unsa ni nga compound? Unsa? Butane. Because we have 4 carbon atoms. How about for this one? C5H10. Unsa? Pentane? Pentene. It's an alkene. By using this general formula of CnH2n, ato rang times 2 ang iyang carbon atoms. So 2 times 5, that's give us a 10. So this is an alkene. Dili siya alkane ha. So again, we just use this general formula in identifying the different groups of hydrocarbons. So how about this one? C3H4. Can you identify this carbon? Propine. Because it has, oh yeah, propine. Because it has 3 carbon atoms, and by using again the general formula, C2H2n minus 2. So 2 times 3 equals 6 minus 2. So that gives us a 4. So this is a propine. So sayo na ba class or lisod? Sayo na no kay basta kay inyo ko na ni is just memorize this one ang prefix because you'll need to memorize that one. Kini na ba do? Meth, F, prop, but, pen, hex, F, off, non, and dec. And then kini lang. I-memorize ninyo yung general formula para ma-identify nyo if that is whether an alkane, alkene, or alkyne. So now, nag-isgot na ta sa tulo ka hydrocarbons. Alkane, alkane, alkene, alkyne. Nag-isgot na ta og unsa to pagnalan. So do we have a way ba on visualizing on how these carbon compounds are bonded together? Dako lang i-reason sa klasa to make room. di ba our second objective for this class discussion today is to draw the Lewis structure and the skeletal structure of hydrocarbons. So to visualize, for example, butane, unsay kay pormaan niya on a molecular level. So we'll be using three. The Lewis structure, and we have also the condensed formula, and the skeletal structure. Now, how do we draw this one? Sige, maghatag ko og kanang example ng hydrocarbon. So for example, we have here the ethane or ethane, C2H6, 2 times 2, diba 2N plus 2, so 4 plus 2, 6. So this is an alkane, ethane. So first, we'll be using the Lewis structure. Can remember mo itong ang ipakita ganyan? So this is an example of an alkane, which is ethane. So saan na ito pag-drawing? Yung saan na ito? Yung saan na ito? Sir, line yan, connect with carbons. So, tip number 1. Carbon can have a maximum of 4 bonds. So, upat ka linya. 1, 2, 3, 4. And sa diha ng mga linya, diha na ito i-connect ng ato ang hydrogen o carbon compounds. So, for example, in this compound ethane, see, since duha man ka carbon, ato sa unahon nagsuot ang duha ka carbon. Since it is an alkane, 1 bond ra, di na siya yung nana kay alkane man siya, single bond ra. Kumara itong unang button. Diba I mentioned nga, maximum of 4 bonds. So ito siya suwatan o linya. So these are the bonds. And i-countin nyo nga, upat na yun siya. For example here, 1, 2, 3, 4. For this 1 carbon. And here, 1, 2, 3, 4. So, 4. And by the way, class, this is covalent bonds, man good. So, they are sharing this bond. Next, since we've drawn now the carbon to carbon, and its possible bonds, maximum of 4 each carbon, we now draw the number of hydrogen. So sa example na to, sa ethane, namtay unom. So ito siya ibutan class. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is our Lewis structure for ethane. Nakapano ra? Basta first, write how many carbons. Kanya inyo ang i-bond ang duha carbon. And the next is draw the maximum of 4 bonds each carbon. And then lastly, i-distribute ang hydrogen atoms na naa sa atong compound. So in drawing the condensed structure, it's tulo na sa ako na ipaling na rin. Okay na ako na yung reason? Copy na ba? Ito na yung represent as LS for ethane. Now, for the condensed, from the word itself, condensed. Diba, kung evaporate, from liquid to gas, so mas na-disperse siya. Condense is a process of from gas to liquid, so mas mura to siya na-compress noon. So kini siya balik class in our condensed formula, so we'll just use CF for short. Ato siya mag-compress lang. Then how do we do this? First, mura ato siyang buwagon. Natay CH3 and CH3. Nay carbon sa carbon na tulok hydrogen, ang naay carbon na tulok hydrogen. So ang condensed formula sa atong ethane is just CH3 CH3. Ala lang ka sa yun. Ato lang siyang murag i-group bitaw. Then how about for our skeletal structure? Masayon nun siya kuan compared ani bitaw. But of course, you need to identify this one first. Then, so that we can draw our skeletal structure. Tingnan niyo kasayon plus. That's it. So, tanong why? Sa mga yung key takeaway ha in drawing the skeletal structure. Each end, can you look sa inyong handouts because it's also there. Each end sa kada line represents a carbon atom. A carbon atom. So since in our example C2H6, we have 2 carbon atoms, then that's it, 1, 2. So that's only a line. Ano siya? And how about for methane? Methane, since usaraman siya, di na ito madraw yung skeletal structure sa methane. Kaya kung saan ito, ordok na. Nabitaw. So naklaro na ang kwan, difference sa Lewis structure, condensed formula of skeletal structure. Class, how about there? Naklaro na ninyo? Gets na? Sige, maghatag ko another example. Ari na po ito sa alkene. So we have here C4H8. So unsay siyang alkene? Wala, nakalimot na. Naiko ano na table? Oh. This butene. Since we have 4 carbon atoms. Now for our Lewis structure, remember class that alkene has double bonds. So we do this by first drawing how many carbon atoms? 1, 2, 3, 4. This one within the one. Now, atong i-distribute yung bonds between carbon. 1, 2. And di ba, alkene has double bonds. So ito siyang butkan diha o 2. So this is a 1 butene. Kaya diha mo na ito ibutang ang kuan. Ato ang double bond, which will be discussed later on how we name specifically this one. Pero sa karon focus natin sa basic bitaw mga foundations on how we name and how we draw this one. And the next one, atong i-distribute ang hydrogen atoms. So for our example, within we have 8 hydrogen atoms. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait. Ay, sa'yo po sa'yo. Ano bra? May dapat ko 4 man. Sorry. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So muna ito ang Lewis structure for butene. Then for our For our condensed formula, ato siyang i-group. Ato siyang group. Lahit ni, lahit na, lahit ni siya. So, ito lang ini ang class ay CH2. But since this is an alkene, atong emphasize sa atong condensed formula kung asa ito'y butang ang atuang double bond. So CH2 is bonded to the second carbon atom. So ato'y butang ang double bond CH, since usa man ka hydrogen kaya 1, 2, 3, 4. So puno na siya, upat ra man dapat maximum. Di ko di manubra. And we have here CH2, a 1, 2, and then another one, 1, 2, 3, so CH3. Muna yung condensed formula. Bali ato siya i-compress ng good. So that's the basic idea. You just compress the Lewis structure to get the condensed formula. Now, for the skeletal structure. Kasi na-shock na kung sa forma. Kaya pag kita mo, pag-hatag na ako sa ethane ganyan, sigabin yung mata nga, ha? Nanakalinya. So for our skeletal structure in butane, this is how we do it plus. So remember ha, each end sa line represents a carbon atom. So pag anak pa nyo sa ballpen daan, that's a 1, 2, 3, 4. So na siya carbon, 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 carbon. 1, 2, 3, 4. And difference niya sa alkane is that naa siya double bond. So akong emphasize ito asang double bond nakabutang. Since naa siya dito sa first, ito yung butang niya. Na ay extra nga linya. Di na siya, wala na nakasumpay diya. Wala na siya ka naglutaw diya ba? It's just there. So that represents a double bond. Nag-gets na? Ay, galing ito. For our last example, let's use an alkyne. So for example, we'll be using ito yung taas-taas D6H4 D6H10. Kasi tawagan ni nga compound. Na Rodrigo? Hexene. Hexine. So for our Lewis structure, first we draw the number of carbon atoms 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ayun lang, matuot na. 6. And then, ato na siya i-connect. Then just like sa ato ang example na alkene, atong emphasize yung triple bonds. So 1, 2, 3. So this is a 1-hexene. Ang name ano yung hydrocarbon. Since naamla ito, dinigibutang ang atuang triple bond. So now, ato nang i-attach ato ang hydrogen atoms. So natay na po. So be critical in observing this one kasi dapat upat ra jud kalinya ang naa per carbon atom. So ato yung butang dre 1, 2, 3, 4 na siya upat. Butang tag hydrogen. Dre 1, 2, 3, 4. Ay puno na siya. So dito ang butang del carbon. Oh, I mean hydrogen. Eh upat naman. Pero dre sa katulo 1, 2. Pwede pa nato ambot nga ng duha. Not hydrogen, hydrogen. Dire, 1, 2. Na, pwede pa to. Ambot nga ng duha. So 1, 2. And here, same gapon. Napay bakante. H, H. And dire sa itong last carbon atom, napay bakante nga tulo. H, H, H. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So C6H10. That's for our Lewis structure. For our condensed formula, ato lang siyang i-group. Nata kini ang group. Nata nagbutaw na siya usa. Loner magud siya. Ana, basta mo na yung buhat na yung class, balik nyo siyang i-group ba? Na. So now, we have here CH. And again, emphasize the triple bond bonded to a loner na carbon atom. Kasi kauban. Then we have the CH2, 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 and then CH2. Sayang doon, no? Pero na may simpler way na ni class. Di ba, natay 1, 2, 3, tulo ka CH2. So, pwede na po nato siya tinginion. CH2, in parenthesis, huwag ka ng 3. So, represent ka na itulo ka CH2. And proceeding with the skeletal structure, since this is a one hexane, ano rin siya? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nya asa ang triple bond nakabutang? Nadriya. So atong ibutang og tulo ka linya. So 1, 2, 3. That represents the triple bond. Take carbon, 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 carbon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. C6H10. That's an alkyne. Klaro ra? Ang tulo ka kuan. So this is a Lewis structure. Bali murag mas lapad siya. The condensed formula atong i-compress. And then the skeletal structure. Ato lang siyang linya-linya. So klaro class? Or napay pangutana? So this example sa akong gihatag, actually it's just there in your handouts. So you can just scan through it to be guided together with this discussion para inyo masabtan na ito ang leksyon. So na siya ang alkene, that's a general formula, the alkyne, and the naming.
Natagaan ba tamong handout? Oh, wala. O, sige. Ang inani? Ah, wala pa. Sige. Sige, yung sir niyo yung handout. Nakalimot siya. O, kasi mo dahil ko matagayin. Ngayon na lang naman ako.
Dati gitawag class. Di ba sa ito nakita sa alkane, going back to my example, kindly turn off your phones. Tingaw pala. Ato makita sa alkane, puno siya hydrogen. So this is what we call a saturated hydrocarbon. Kaya puno siya hydrogen atoms. And among the three, ang alkane mo ay pinaka-stable. In comparison sa alkene nga nipili siya nga mo duha ka bonds sa iyang fellow carbon atom, and samot na si alkyne na nipili siya tulo ka bonds sa iyang fellow carbon atom, and then mas gamay nga iyang hydrogen. So muna to siyang gitawag nga unsaturated hydrocarbons. Kay kuwang siya hydrogen carbons, and for information class, the alkyne is the least stable among the three. So nasabtan ra? So again, the alkane has single bond and has the general formula of CnH2n plus 2. The alkene has double bonds, which has the general formula of CnH2n. And lastly, the alkyne has triple bonds, tulo ka linya, which has the general formula of CnH2n minus 2. And alkanes are saturated hydrocarbons, while alkenes and alkynes are unsaturated hydrocarbons. Ano yung pangutana? Ikabalo naman mong disunod. Base ta. So can you get 1/2 sheet of paper? Dali naman ni class. So can you keep all your notes and get 1/2 one half sheet of paper. Kindly write your student number ha. Kay di ba ko katag ano kinsa nang agi. So, andam na ang one half. So, kindly keep all your notes. Paki-close ko sa inyong LM. Okay, I can still see books open around. Close your books, close your notes. And I only want to see your one half crosswise paper on top of your. Sige, so eyes on the board, and you'll start with test 1. So test 1, identification. So identify what type of hydrocarbon is being presented on the screen. Write alkane, alkene, or alkyne for your answers. Pero, more on choices sa alkane, alkene, and alkyne. For number 1. Number 2. Sino yung magsuot direct pangalan na sa compound? Alkane, alkene, or alkyne na yung ipangayo? For number 3. For number 4. And for number 5. Disregard the number. Okay, for test 2. Apa. Ipataas-taas na dyan. Yung work na siya itong mga class. Okay, for test 2 class. See? So for test 2, for 5 points. Draw the Lewis structure and the skeletal structure. Lewis skeletal lahat on the hydrocarbon name. So given na ang formula. So just write lang po ang formula sa inyong answers. The LS and the SS. So that's for 5 points. That's a no name ending with an A-N-E. Two minutes left. One minute left. Again, that's no name ending with an A-N. Lubis and skeletal round ipangita atong condense. Ano na rin yung answer? 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens up. Pens up. So kindly pass your paper to the front. All papers team. Apa dia sa likod o na? Apa dia? Okay, so thank you class for your participation, and I think for this quarter or for this semester, this would be my last demo ako ng klase. So see you na po next semester probably in your grade 10. So before na, pictures at ha? So pang sa camera. Ako, anak ako. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Salamat, class. Now, tara may nakatunan ako. Yung tayo ito ay check na ko ano eh. Wala, sir. Okay na, business.
Last demo na ito ni Sir sa inyo, ha? On niya, we will have pero mo ito consider na, nasabtas ka ninyo. I'm going to give you a handout. Ito yung sige, suti ni Sir. Iwa itong matagain. Now, pero, kayo dito, doon dito, makawa man na uli ang patunan akong ginatag. I'm simply going to give you one for each group. So, kamunay bahala. So, these are just 3 pages. 3 pages kami ha. Ang the rest, ang katunay subsequent sa kamutagaan. Kanina po sa masipot ang sabi natin dito. Kaya masig. Mag-1. Kamunay pagkukya. Sige. Any clarification that you would want, you will do that tomorrow. Okay? Mana po. Make sure na naanay agi diha. Unya group leaders. Murag wa takatatak karon adlaw. Kinahanglan matatakan na karon. So all of you will have to, all of you, I repeat, kamutan na ha, magpapirma mo karon. Dapat kompleto ng iyong